Is there any physical games or physical media that you have that has been changed?
Ubisoft execs say gamers need to get comfortable not owning their games for subscriptions to take off.
Ubisoft, I mean, a lot of gamers already have a beef with Ubisoft for, first of all, I mean, let's talk about quality, broken games, this, that, and the other. The DRM stuff they tried to put on their games, they have not been looking out at the best interest for the actual consumer of their content. So for them to be all aboard on this and, hey, get used to not owning games, if I were to picture anyone doing this, it would be saying this, it would be Ubisoft or EA.
Well, and the other thing that bothers me about when you don't own a game, an actual physical copy, is they can go in later and change a game completely from the original content, kind of like our movies, right? And then
TV shows,
you don't have the
movies.
same product.
Oh, that's like what the Skullgirls game did. Whenever they were like, oh, let's go ahead and censor all the outfits and some of the lines in the game. This is a game that people already owned, and they just, without warning, changed a ton of stuff in it. That's not the product that people bought.
This goes back to you may be asking yourself, who said this over at Ubisoft? And this came from Philippe Tremblay, who is the director of subscriptions at Ubisoft, which makes total sense because you would think that the guy who is selling you nothing wants you to buy more of it, right? So it's really kind of crazy, and it goes back to the in the thumbnail it says you will own nothing, and we continuously hear this over and over again. You will own nothing, and you will be happy, and these companies are hopping on board with it now, and I mean, it makes sense from a company perspective. Once again, you're selling a digital item. You don't have to package anything up. You don't have to worry about what a box art looks like. You don't have to worry about making, any sort of insert for manual or anything like that. But it doesn't make sense from a consumer perspective. And I think now you're going to see what brands are truly consumer focused and focused on the best product itself for the people who are buying it. I don't know. Have y'all? We've talked about this many times. I thought Super Mario Wonder may have been the last time I go into a GameStop and actually buy a game, which is crazy to think about. I certainly embrace physical media more than digital media, but I don't know if it's possible to beat it, because
right. Because that's the thing is, even when you're buying the physical media, you still have to go online and patch it up and all this stuff to even play it most of the time. So it's like, as much as I prefer physical media these days, now used to, it was like, oh yeah, digital, this is easy and stuff. But then I started playing my retro games more and stuff, and it's like, okay, these physical copies are actually very valuable. And it made me start buying my current games physically as well when possible. But again, we're still limited with that because of how they have to patch things, or you have to be online to play certain things. And yeah, it's a big problem.
Yeah, and I totally agree with that because a lot of companies are lazy now where they put unfinished games on platforms, which is not fair because if you were to do the digital copy, it actually has to be finished pre-production to put it on those CDs. So if they're day before still fixing it, that's a huge problem.
Yeah, and then you have to put them in, then they have to update, and you have to connect to the internet and everything. And what if they're like a single player game? You don't need the internet, you just want to play the game. You have to be connected, or else you're screwed. You can't play the game because it doesn't work.
Continuing this conversation about this, is there any physical games or physical media that you have that has been changed, Mel, that you own at any point? There's been an update to it, or Blabs? What about you? Have they done any changes to Harry Potter?
The last, the Harry Potter had to buy on PC because they didn't make it for Xbox One until 7-8 months later.
What about the movies though?
I have everything, DVD, Blu-ray, everything already, so. But they've not altered it. The only thing they've done is thrown in deleted scenes. But for the last game I actually bought was Lego Star Wars in 2022. And I know they've updated that game since, put some patches in, lots of DLCs. So for that game, even if it's a Lego game, you still have to connect to the internet, which is kind of dumb.
Yeah, that seems kind of silly. But chat, is there any games or media that you own that has been updated, maybe for modern audiences, perhaps that has been altered in any way, shape, or form since you originally purchased it? You know,
Yeah, for me, just Skullgirls, and I got that on Steam. So, which I don't know, maybe I didn't get it. I think I may have prevented it from patching in time because I did know a little bit, maybe in time. I haven't checked since, so I'll have to check on that.
the Skullgirls thing is really fascinating because they, in particular, it was something about the original creator of Skullgirls, and he's no longer associated with it.
Right. Yeah. So he's no longer a part of it. It's like a new team and everything are now running Skullgirls. They're just a lot more woke and all that at that company. And so instead of just letting the past be the past and only focusing on future properties, they were like, oh, okay, we don't like these outfits that the characters are wearing. So we're going to change all their outfits, and we're also going to change all the dialogue because some of the dialogue they thought was racist. So yeah, jokes, no fun allowed, no jokes allowed, no fun outfits allowed. And
What's
they just
interesting,
changed a lot of things.
right? What's interesting is that the same day that Ubisoft, this news article is getting out there, IGN posted an article about how we need physical media more than ever. It was very, very ironic that this would come
Yeah.
out on the exact same day. Almost like, is there a push for this somehow, or is this just a coincidence?
And you
know?
gotta remember that IGN really does simp for a lot of people, so I thought it was very ironic that they would go against what Ubisoft was saying.
Yeah, that
So I was
is
like,
shocking.
whoa, simps have changed. So,
Simps have changed.
yeah. And
Well-
in that article, they're talking about James Bond and all these other things, how, you have to preserve your physical media, and people are going to start collecting it more. And I think people are going to start collecting more just because it changes everything, and you get to have it forever.
Right.
Yeah, I do think that there have been there's been a shift for sure in media over the last couple years in particular, mainly since 2020. I would say after COVID, after the lockdowns, people really started appreciating the physical aspect of things a little bit more because we saw the big boom of digital because everyone's like has to stay at their house and all that nonsense. But I think now more than ever, people are embracing physical things. And maybe it's just my generation, but the idea of those lockdowns, as ridiculous as they were, they really helped people realize what a good thing you have and the ability to go out, do things, and have experiences. And part of that experience is picking up a game, putting it in a console, and playing it, as opposed to just loading it up and letting it go. So, and maybe I'm wrong with that. I don't know. I'd love to hear the chat's thought on that. Did y'all get that sense?
I mean, yeah, my thing too is just going back to retro games and stuff like that. That's really what made me understand the value of physical games, especially when it's just like when you have them digitally on like Steam or whatever, or online or whatever. Well, then you can even only play them there so long. Depending on like your computer that you have, and if it's not compatible with this or that, you need to not only have old media, but you need to keep your old consoles, you need to keep your old computers, all that stuff if you want to play the stuff that was on it.